Welcome to episode 2 of The View with Vertex. I'm your host, Isaac Morrison, and today's guest is a good friend of mine. He's an advanced scaffolder. He's worked for some of the biggest scaffolding businesses in the UK and on some of the most high-profile construction projects for some of the biggest clients. He's also a budding entrepreneur himself with his brewing company, the Wakey Wakey Brewing Co. And
thanks for having me, Isaac.
It's good to have you on. Obviously, we're still getting used to some of the equipment and bits and pieces, but great to have you on and looking forward to hearing more about your story.
Pleasure to be here.
I've got to start kind of from the very beginning. Your journey, first footsteps into the scaffolding industry. I know we've been talking a lot about it off air. Where did it all begin for you?
I was working at North Manchester General Hospital in medical records, filing them away I did that between 16 and 18 throughout college, and got a phone call off my dad's mate who was working at GH Scaffolding at the time, and he basically needed a labourer, and they convinced me that it was a good route to go down. I was looking at going to university after college, so it was like, build some money up.
So the uni thing, just so people know about this, Ant's probably more familiar with a lot of the equipment in the studio than I am, because at university it was sound engineering, wasn't it?
Yeah, I did sound engineering at university. I did some in college as well. It was kind of music technology and sound engineering throughout college and university years.
Yeah, and at college was kind of alongside the port of work at the hospital, and then later what would be the starting scaffolding with GH.
Yeah, kind of did that on the side of doing university, yeah.
Yeah.
Got that phone call. It was only supposed to be 3 weeks, just to kind of this. I think somebody was injured, they hurt themselves, and he was a man down. So
this is just to go back to that though. How did this person injure himself? Because I couldn't believe this when I heard it off camera.
He was a break dancer on the side, so he was a similar age to me, and his thing was. Mine was music technology and playing in bands. His was breakdancing, and I think he sprained his wrist. So he had. You
should have all stuck together. You could have been a travelling show.
Yeah.
So that's he injured himself. You get the phone call.
And 3 weeks down the line, when I was due to go back to my boring as hell day job, filing medical records, they all got me in the pub to say goodbye, but then basically convinced me to stay, and I got on the phone that afternoon and handed me notice in at the hospital, and stayed in scaffolding for a further, I can't remember how many weeks it was, just to build that extra money up. And I did go to university at the end of that. I didn't convince me to not go there, although it's funny that I did 4 years at university. First year was a bit of a failed attempt, unfortunately.
I think that's true. Most people in it.
But yeah,
especially if you throw scaffolding into the mix as well. Do you know what I mean?
Every break, summer break, I was back scaffolding, and then obviously the second, third, and fourth years weren't full weeks. So any days I had off university, where I should have been doing university work, I was scaffolding.
Scaffolding comes with its own distractions as well, doesn't it?
It does.
You were talking off air about the handing the notice, and I found this really interesting as well, because I've had similar experiences of this. But when you handed your notice in with the hospital, just what did that look like? It wasn't just a case of saying, I've found this really great gig, scaffolding. I've decided what to take my career in a different direction. You phoned.
No, I made quite a convoluted story about how I'd got into university, even though this was probably beginning of August, let's say, and universities don't usually start till like mid-September, and I was moving down there and getting myself settled in. So I didn't know what else to say, and she wished me the best of luck, and that was that. I mean, they hit me with a bill for all the holidays that I'd taken.
Oh, really?
Yeah, of course they did. I'd taken holidays that I hadn't accrued.
All right, okay.
But I actually can't remember whether I paid that back, but a little bit less than that. A long time ago. Sure they've not missed it.
No, the reason why I found it interesting was because obviously talking about early years and when you starting any career or whatever. And that kind of transition from being in school to then going into full-time education, to go into full-time work and kind of starting your life, really. It's a weird transition because I remember something similar myself. I didn't know what I wanted to do. This was way before Scaffolder had ever come along. And I had to go to college. And it was like, it was kind of like school had ended and college was starting. Didn't really have an idea what I wanted to do. And then, told them the course that I thought I wanted to do. I think it was psychology or something like that. Anything with an ology at the end of it. So, that was what I was going to do. And then because of my GCSE results, they were like, no, you've got to do this course, that course, the other course. And I'm like, that's not why I'm going to college. Like, I'm a grown up now. I've left all that behind. I can make my own.
Study what I want to
study.
I
can make my own decisions.
Not the other bits. Yeah.
So I was like, very early on for me, I was like, no, I'm done with this. I'm going to go and find a job. It wasn't scaffolding straight away, by the way. I think I ended up working in a perfume warehouse. More about that another time, I suppose. But wasn't exactly for me. Terrible one. The apprenticeship with Allied and getting into scaffolding came maybe a year or so after that, doing weird, different, working on burger vans and stuff. But I'm glad, glad I got into it in the end. But
you try all kinds of different things before you find the right job for you, don't you? And like I say, scaffolding is it's a weird way into it. And I don't think anybody wakes up and go, I want to be a scaffolder. Maybe there is the odd one. I think you're either born into it or you're sometimes roped into it.